Hi, I'm Paula Desaulniers, a counselor in the Center for Students with Disabilities. Today, I'd like to talk to you about memory aids as an accommodation for students with memory impairments. What is memory? Memory refers to the processes that are used to acquire, store, retain, and retrieve information. There are three processes involved in memory: encoding, which is the transferring of information into a form that can be stored in memory; storage, holding information in memory; and retrieval, bringing information stored in memory back to mind. In order to be successful in the current model of education, good memory is an essential learning tool. But what about those of us with memory limitations relating to disability? Students with disabilities account for 10% of the post-secondary population. In 2011-12, there were over 46,000 students registered with disability offices at publicly funded post-secondary institutions in Ontario. At the Center for Students with Disabilities, there are over 900 students served annually, and some of these students have disabilities affecting memory. Disabilities affecting memory may include acquired brain injuries, psychiatric disabilities, learning disabilities, and medical conditions. In addition, some medications that students with disabilities must take have an effect on memory function. While timed testing is popular in higher education, it can put a significant strain on memory. Instructors are generally interested in what students know, not how they are able to perform on timed tests. Ensuring courses are designed by universal design principles ensures that barriers to learning that require accommodation are not created in the first place. Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, goes beyond just accessibility. Design principles assist instructors in maximizing learning for all students. Two key principles are: 1, providing variability in instruction, that is, ensuring students have multiple ways to receive the information. For example, ensuring that lecture notes and PowerPoint slides are also provided electronically for all learners. And 2, variability in the means by which learning is measured. Providing students with multiple options to evidence learning, for example, take-home papers, multiple choice exams, projects, or presentations, provides all students the opportunity to choose methods of evaluation that fit their learning strengths. For students with disabilities, UDL is the preferred approach because it involves inclusion in the design phase of the course rather than retroactive accommodation once a barrier to learning is in place. The use of memory aids for students with memory-related disabilities is required when no alternative to time testing has been provided. This accommodation is recommended only under very specific circumstances, following review of medical documentation, and represents a small percentage of students registered with the CSD. Memory aids are meant to level the playing field for students with documented deficits in memory, allowing them to recall information that would otherwise be inaccessible to them in a testing situation. The memory aid allows the student to demonstrate his or her knowledge and mastery of the course material without taxing already compromised memory function. Memory aids are not answer sheets, substitutes for studying, an exemption from knowing the course material, full course notes, or open textbooks. Memory aids are reference tools that will not be useful to students unless the student has solid knowledge of how to use the information it contains. Examples of memory aids are formula sheets, mind maps, crib sheets, word lists, and word glossaries. Formula sheets are intended to provide the student with a sheet of formulas specific to the nature of the test or exam. Generally, the educational goal is to ensure that a student knows how to apply the formula being tested rather than to memorize the formula. In this example, the student must know what H stands for to plug in the appropriate numbers in the formula to help solve the problem. A mind map is a visual tool that helps a student structure a topic in a form that can easily be remembered. By seeing a particular shape or visual image, the student can prompt their mind to remember the information within it. In this example, the student is able to use the mind map depicting a snake, penguin, cow, and frog to trigger memory of Piaget's stages of cognitive development: sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. A crib sheet is a concise set of notes for quick reference. The crib sheet acts as a type of external memory and could contain a wide variety of information dependent on the course. Word lists rely on associations between easy-to-remember constructs which can be related back to the information that is to be remembered. For example, the list below contains key terms to assist a student with writing an essay on learning disabilities. A word glossary contains explanations of concepts relevant to a certain field of study. It is a list of terms in a particular domain of knowledge with the definitions of those terms. This type of memory aid would only be appropriate if definitions and/or spelling are not being tested, but instead a student's ability to use this information for a particular purpose. The approval of a memory aid is a partnership between the student and the faculty. The CSD will assist as needed. The process for using a memory aid in a testing environment is as follows. The student will prepare the memory aid at least 1 week before the test or exam and present it to their faculty for review. The student and the faculty negotiate the content. However, the student must delete any content that the faculty does not deem appropriate. It is the responsibility of the faculty to ensure that by accessing this accommodation, the student will continue to meet the course requirements without compromising academic integrity. Faculty must show approval for the content by signing off on the memory aid. The faculty will photocopy the memory aid and attach the original to the test or exam provided to the test center. The photocopied memory aid will be given to the student. The role of the faculty in reviewing the memory aid is essential, as what is a memory aid in one situation could be an answer sheet in another. As mentioned previously, if the purpose of a test is to discover whether or not a student knows a particular definition, having those words on a word glossary would not be appropriate and therefore not allowable. If, however, a student uses a formula sheet to recall a specific formula and the goal of the test was to assess the ability to apply the formula being tested, this would not seem to compromise academic integrity. Faculty are fully entitled to reject content that lies in direct conflict with essential learning requirements of their course. We all use memory aids in our daily life, as research shows that information is easier to retrieve when it is cued. How many of us remember the acronym BEDMAS from elementary school for Order of Operations? How many of us use the acrostic "Never Eat Shredded Wheat" to serve as a cue for north, east, south, west? We all use notepads for our to-do lists, agendas to recall appointments, and visualizing landmarks to assist with directions. A memory aid is simply an advanced memory strategy for those with memory impairments. When determining whether memory is an essential requirement, it is important to consider what is truly required to be remembered. With advances in information technology, most graduates will find that resourcefulness is a career requirement over memory. The CSD is here to help. If you have any questions or concerns about memory aids as an accommodation, please don't hesitate to contact us.